It's on. This is the Corona Bali Protected, presented by Hurley, with round 3 unfolding. Heat 3 hitting the lineup. The Australian Owen Wright well positioned on the Jeep leaderboard, taking on Willian Cardoso, the Brazilian rookie who battled away for 12 years on the qualifying series to make the grade and fulfill his dream. He's got a big heat here. These two did meet in the third round on the Gold Coast. Owen getting the jump over Willian there. He'll try and get one back here at Karamas. Ronnie Blakey with Strider Wozalewski, a well-known big wave surfer and a man who's also famous for a selfie, and we love it, Strider. Keep him coming. But a beautiful morning once again here.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's been an eventful morning nonetheless. I mean, absolutely bangers going down with all these aerial antics and just, you know, upsets, I'd call that, with Jesse Mendez and John Florence going at each other. And, well, Jesse came away with that big backside air, which was pretty aggressive. You think he needed a 5.2, and he goes for the huge rotator, which was, you know, I think 2 off the lips would have got it done, but went for it. And that's just the kind of level I think you have to be on out here against somebody like John Florence. You just got to go for it. And, well, we're going to see these guys going for it in this next heat too. Yeah, that first heat was interesting, wasn't it? Because you had 2 surfers feeling different kinds of pressure. But right now out in the lineup, Willian Cardoso deep in the barrel, that thing reeling off so quickly. He just couldn't find the exit. But still, describe to a Strider what the vision's like out there at this point in time. Beautiful sunrise glaring off the water surface. Yeah, I would love to actually kind of get, I don't know if Rosie's actually had any insight on that, but when you're in the tube looking out of the barrel, you've got that sun right in your eyes. And I don't know if that affected the surfers in that heat. Even John, like, you know, before that all got started, I don't know. I don't think he would have had the sun glaring like that. And then in his heat, it popped. And it really started to just get right in the eyeball as far as where you would have been positioned. So that's something that you have to throw into the box as something that might affect your surfing out there. Most definitely, yeah. I think Jesse Mendez mentioned that in his post-heat interview. Willian Cardoso having a look at a wave there. He did have that throwaway 1.23, entered that barrel just a bit too deep. And for someone of Willian Cardoso's size, you're going to need a bigger wave than that to get yourself fully covered. Rosie is out there in the lineup, but Rosie, I mean, it's beautiful to watch from the beach, but the sun, it does play a role. It can make it hard to identify what the sections are doing out there.
Definitely, boys, and we were just noting this morning that orange blob made its way above the clouds, and it does just sear right into your eyeballs. So it is something, you know, that the competitors are contending with, just another variable to add to this lineup. But how can you complain about just a beautiful day, sheet glass? But yeah, I'm actually looking into it right now just to get a feel of what the competitors are feeling, and it's pretty tough. It is definitely bright out here, and something to think about when you in the lineup. We're starting so early, so we're still going to have another few heats with the sun this strong glaring into this lineup. Oh, that's, man, I've felt the effects of that sun. It was like a lobster yesterday. Just so
I
know, we didn't want to say anything. We'll buy you some aloe at the Circle K on our way home, Ronnie.
Oh, thank you. Just on 24 minutes remaining here. Still no wave for Owen Wright. He's been in special form in 2018, Strider. I know you loved his work on the Gold Coast. He actually overcame all the regular footers there that he was up against in those barreling conditions, dropping big numbers, and eventually ended up losing out to a fellow goofy footer. So he was really on point, wasn't he? You know, it's absolutely incredible that a guy who's that tall, I mean, I think he's 6'3", and he can put that frame into a small wave or a big wave and really create the kind of surfing that the wave calls for. Willian Cardoso up again, and again tucks in so deep. He really understands, I think, that if you're going to go for the barrel today, you better stuff yourself way back in there behind that foam ball to get the big number, because it isn't that big high impact tube at the moment. Well, the day is really interesting because I've been watching everybody catching waves, and they're been getting caught behind him a bit. Even in John Florence and Jesse Mendez's heat, they were trying to get out in front of it, and we finally saw, like, Michel Perez in his heat going at it, but you can see him taking off behind it there, getting under the hood. And the wave needs a little more substance, a little more size to actually throw it out enough to really weave through from that deep. So that wave just filled up with whitewater, caught him off guard. You know, he'd be getting taken down by the tube monster, they call it, with all that whitewater foam inside the tube. But
you know, watching these surfers, they're having to set pace on these waves. You really got to get cooking right away, you know, to get out in the open face to actually execute a maneuver, or have a big enough wave where you can really just straight into the barrel and riding it. We've seen some tube rides, but they want to see you threading the needle, meaning going in from behind and actually not stalling, really just finding a line, setting a pace, and really coming through with speed. Once you take off and either bottom turn into it or hold the wall going into it, they're kind of like, okay, he had to wait for it, meaning the timing could have been better. And that's something that the judges don't like to see.
So 22 minutes remaining, and Willian Cardoso finds a bit of open face to work with here. Really leans hard on the rail for that first move, up into the pocket. So just the 3 hits, but that first turn was pretty solid. It will definitely be his best wave. Had a couple of throwaway scores to kick this one off, but kept on hunting those insiders and eventually connected with one.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and it's good to keep the ball rolling, keep the pace up, and have him get the reps in out the back. There's see, these bigger sets are moving over down the line, and I think sitting there waiting, you kind of get stuck thinking you're in the right position. Here's Willian. That first turn was beautiful about 90% of the way, and then off the end there, kind of got a little, maybe got a little stuck off the tail, I think, but he's so close to really putting it together, and I think his real flow, if it comes together as a big unit like that, if he can throw turns like that and flow in and out of them consistently, he's going to put up some big numbers in this heat.
Well, an average wave, really, and he dropped to 4.5, so the result after that third ride he's probably pretty happy with. He's got the lead now, and Owen Wright out the back with priority. Yet to swing on a wave. Willian Cardoso has been really consistent at getting himself out of that dreaded second round throughout the season, but he hasn't yet advanced past round 3. He is still alive in the Margaret River event, which will be completed at Uluwatu after this contest, but this is a big one for him. He wants to make the jump now. He wants to start collecting some better seeding points, so he's not having to overcome guys that are consistently cracking the final series at the Championship Tour level. Well, here we go. We'll see if Owen's patience pays off. Nice looking set wave standing up out the back. He grabs that rail, tucks in a clean line. He'll get the exit. Out onto the open face now. Really getting compact and low through that backhand carve and whacks it up into the pocket again. Meanwhile, out the back, Willian, he taps into a nice pit. Corrects after almost tripping over that toe rail on the exit. Doesn't quite get that final turn right. But a good exchange on a larger set.
Yep, that's what we came for. Comments from the competitors area, from the beach commentary, and from local surfers saying this could be one of the best days that we've seen so far in the waiting period. It looks like it's shaping up quite well. I mean, those kind of waves that are rifling down the reef. Look at this wave. Owen does well to get in. He gets a little bit of a stall on it, but you could see him the whole way. So the score is not going to go crazy, but that whip off that cutback was a bit vicious. I mean, he looked like he really wanted to just keep going into it, huh? And I think he stopped to try and get back to the open face again, but putting his body in the wall to slow himself down, looking directly into that sun. So this is the first wave of the heat for him. He's just going to set pace, and if this is his pace, it could get crazy after this, right? Because he's looking really on point, strong. God, that slice through the water, so clean. You know, finishing out there on the inside, I really like it. And then Willian just perfectly positioned. A little dirty on the exit, and then fumbles throughout the rest of the wave. So he needs to clean up these finishes. If he cleans up the finish on a wave like this, he's going to get excellent numbers. But he's really got to come out of that tube and really lay into it. So he had 2 bobbles, you know, right off it, and then fell off the end. And that's not the caliber of surfing that's going to, you got to really nail it to get through these heats, especially against somebody like Owen Wright.
18 minutes to go here. Willian waiting on his last score to come through, wants to make up some points on the inside. Threw everything at it, did well to recover, and now clicks into a rhythm on the inside, letting go of some nice pocket turns. Love the commitment, but there was a lack of control through that first turn, wasn't there?
And it's just off the tail end. Are you noticing that? And this is what we were talking about just a second ago. Clean up a little bit off that bottom, you know, end of that turn, and you are going into the excellent. Watch how vicious this turn is, and if he could come out of it with speed, he would have crushed it. So that little wobble at the bottom messes up his pace, messes up his speed line. You know, it messes with his head a little bit, but he got it back together. You know, but the rest of that wave, there could have been a lot more in it.
Meanwhile, live action, Owen Wright out the back, tucks in, wants to get deeper this time. I think he was aware that there was an opportunity to be deeper on that first barrel ride he had. It came through at a 5.17, and I think it's probably fair to say that the bulk of the points on that ride were probably in that backhand carve. Owen always has a really smooth tempo, but it's sort of consistently the one speed. So to see him rip into that backhand carve and really whip through that turn was a positive sign, I think. But he's going to find himself on the back foot here. Score coming through for Willian Cardoso on that previous ride, a 6.4. So 6.5 minutes to go, and the Brazilian out in front. Owen chasing a 5.74. Let's check in with the last heat winner here in the third round with Kaipo.
Michel, your feeling on a back and forth, you know, intense heat like you've just had with Ezekiel Lau.
Yeah, it was a good hit. I didn't expect the waves to get that good during my hit because it was kind of slow during the first hit. And then, yeah, I'm just happy to make it, man.
Well, great performance, but you were surfing through some pain. You had a sting on your foot, or you have something going on with your foot. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, like 40 minutes before my hit, I pedaled out just to catch a couple waves, and when I walk on the reef, I just step on, it could be a stonefish because there's like 4 or 5 marks like right there under my foot, and it was super hard. So I just got it one wave before and then went in and see the doctor, so he gave me like painkillers to go through the hit.
Well, congratulations. You're on to the next round. We'll let you get fixed up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kipes, for the insights as well. I actually caught Michel Barrez coming up the stairs after that free surfing incident, and he was limping pretty heavily. And you know when you go to the butcher and they have those long, thin sausages and then they have the short, thick ones? That's what his toes look like. And he was definitely surfing through some pain there and did very well, because I think it was one of those matchups too, there in the third round, where you had two very informed surfers fighting it out for a place in round 4. So Michel, he'll get some recovery time now, but definitely has to let that swelling go down a little bit. Just on 15 minutes remaining, Owen Wright is currently chasing a 5.74. The Brazilian rookie, Willian Cardoso, out in front. Welcome back to the show. This is the Corona Bali Protected, presented by Hurley, and a big message to everyone out there. We're moving to Facebook, starting during the Corona Open J-Bay and continuing throughout the 2018-19 season. The WSL Live experience can be viewed for free exclusively on Facebook. The best way to enjoy your digital experience, and you can get very interactive with the broadcast. You know, getting into conversations with some of the other fans, and I think breaking down the big moments, that's going to be the fun bit, having your say. And we know that the people out there love to really dive in deep on what's unfolding out here in the water.
We see so much interaction, you know, via the social media platform, and I think they kind of just want to harness it all and really get a great conversation going between everybody. And it'll be really fun for fans and get interactive. And, you know, once you pull up the WSL app, it'll still pop you right over. I think it's another step in, and then you're right there. So super easy to access and will be fun to watch. And you can have no chats happening.
Oh, yeah.
And you can actually get into a little bit of banter.
Oh, you know there's
with
going to be
somebody
some
who's
debate.
got your opponent, you know, and it'd be great to watch and great to actually just, that could be an entertaining sideshow on its own.
Definitely. Yep. The debates are going to rage and the conversation's going to get heated for sure. But to get involved, all you got to do is go to facebook.com or the Facebook app and search WSL Live, or you can still reach the WSL Live viewing experience by visiting worldsurfleague.com or the WSL app, and it will link you directly through to that live stream. But just over 12 minutes remaining here. Willian Cardosa out in front, trying to get one back on Owen Wright, who got the jump on him in the same round up there on the Gold Coast. Willian desperate to break out of round 3 for the first time this year. He had a sleepy start to this heat and actually tripped up on his third wave as well. But Willian, I think, just throwing down enough big turns on his rides. The last 2 waves he's had to establish a pretty decent lead here. 6.4, 5.6. I think Owen had the best wave of the heat, but only managed to 5.17.
Yeah, well, and that reflects on the tube time that he had, right? He was out in front of it a bit. The judges, in order to catch a solid score off of a tube ride, they want to see disappear. So I guess they don't want to see you at all. They want to just see the barrel and maybe the tip of your board, just the tip, you know? And that's something that's really hard to negotiate when you're riding a tube, because you've got that white water inside from the lip landing and coming inside the barrel. You kind of have to ride over the foam sometimes, and timing it perfectly can be really hard to do. That's why you get the big scores, though, when you do it. So score coming in at a mid-range. If he would have been on deeper, that could have come in at an excellent range. Yeah, Ronnie?
Oh, for sure he would have gone into the excellent range. I think that he stalled, but maybe just seeing some of the earlier heats today and surfers getting stuck inside some of these barrels, he wanted to make sure he found it through that one. We've got some set waves rolling our way at the moment. Priority is with the man in red. The top seed heading into this one, kicked off the year with a quarterfinal. He had a great Australian leg, Owen Wright. But he did drop the ball in Brazil, so he's trying to get back on track. Both these competitors still alive in the Margaret River event, which is going to play out over at Uluwatu. So they're going to get 2 cracks at a big jump up the ratings here in Bali.
Tell me a little bit about, you know, I surf down at Canggu, but not really in this zone a lot, is it? So we've got like a lava side of the island, right? And with that, the water, the sand is dark. It's basically black sand beaches over here. You can't really see the bottom very well, but you left a bit of bark on the bottom surfing. Is that just really shallow out there right now?
It's definitely shallow. It's pretty sharp. It's sort of deceiving. You can kind of stand on it as long as you're kind of just standing stationary. You can kind of walk across the reef without kind of puncturing your skin or getting lacerated, but it's like a grater. You know, you can put your hand flat on a cheese grater and not cut yourself, but as soon as you've got some momentum and you're moving across it, then you do get skinned. And it is kind of deceiving. It doesn't look like that live coral reef, but there is some critters growing across that lava rock. So that's why there was some, I think, hesitation from the competitors on the bigger day when they got to that end section. Some surfers were braver than others.
Speaking of hesitation, that was so fun to watch right there. Did you see what happened?
Having a chat to each other.
Did you see really, what? I mean, Owen was sitting there, and Willian, Owen was back paddling, right? Moving his arms backwards so that he could move backwards into where Willian was sitting. And he did it without looking at him once. Then he still doesn't look at him. Here we go, watch this. He's back paddling. He knows he's right behind him. He's like, okay, watch out. Makes him move over. And then Willian's like, oh, well, maybe I should go. Never looks at him. Never looks back. Almost looks at the wave, but then doesn't really give it a concerted effort. And Willian doesn't have the chance to catch the wave and then tries to go for a priority exchange. But in that situation, watching that is those are such great silent but deadly tactics, right? And if Willian was on the other side of him, he might have actually baited Owen into that wave, and he might have actually gone because he saw Willian going. And in the John heat, the same thing happened, and I'm not sure why. If you don't have priority, why would you sit behind your opponent in deeper on the peak? You don't have a chance of catching the wave. Now you see Williams move to the other side of him, which is where I feel like you should be in a heat, because if your opponent does not go, you can catch it, number one. Number two, if you go, or you look like you're going, your opponent might go, and you can sell a wave.
We could see the competitors talking. Rosie, could you hear what they were saying to one another?
I couldn't hear what they were saying, but the body language was clear. Willian wanted the change of the priority, but he was trying to be a salesman. Here he goes up on this wave, getting shacked at the moment. And is he going to come out? Not gets taken out by that lip. But like I was saying, Willian was really trying to push the issue on that priority. But honestly, to me, watching it right in front of me, Owen really didn't make a motion for that wave. So I don't know. It was kind of...
I think if you were in a courtroom and you're arguing your case, it's silly to argue it after the verdict's been given. If you want to make an appeal, you have to actually paddle for that wave yourself. You have to get your argument in before the other surfer actually either looks at the wave or motions towards it. Willens could have paddled for that wave. He was on the inside, and then Owen would have just taken it if he really wanted to take it from him. So I just feel like in that situation, as a surfer without priority, you still have to make a concerted effort yourself to catch that ride.
Yeah, and honestly, the positioning of Willian was way too close to his opponent, which is done on purpose to make you feel the opponent feel the presence and kind of give you that vibe, right? That energy that you're right there, right? We've seen it happen, you know, multiple times. It happens in every heat. The problem with that is he didn't give himself enough room to actually paddle for the wave, to actually catch it and be in the right spot. So, yeah, no harm, no foul.
Amazing how things can change at the championship tour level. Zeke Lau, one of the performers of the contest, has just been knocked out here in the third round. Zeke's with Kaipo.
Zeke, you know, not the result you wanted, but you got to hold your head up because you really battled there against Michel.
Yeah, I mean, I was just stoked. We had a lot of opportunity to surf, and it's just, he was just got in a better rhythm than me, I guess. He got started a little early, which kind of put him in rhythm with a lot of the sets, and I kind of tried to be patient and try to wait for, you know, those bigger sets, but I think we didn't really have any larger sets that came in, so I mean, I gambled on that, and you know, I came up short, but I was glad I had a lot of opportunity and got to battle him on a few exchanges, and you know, he was just in better rhythm.
Number 6 on the Jeep leaderboard. What's next here?
Just get ready for JB. I mean, I'm just gonna stay around here and keep surfing and stay busy, and probably go back and work on some more boards for JB and just stay focused and keep moving forward.
Thanks for your time. We'll see you in JB.
Thank you.
Cheers, Kipes. Yeah, Zeke Lau unfortunately had a round 2 loss over at Margaret River, so he's not getting that opportunity at Uluwatu. As we see Michel Perez, he mentioned that he might have had a run-in with a stonefish. A couple of spine puncture wounds on the bottom of his foot. Quite a bit of swelling. He's trying to bring that down at the moment, Strider.
I wonder if it could be an urchin, because that would have, you know, multiple puncture
I had a look at his foot.
You did, yeah?
An urchin, you know, typically there's a lot of spines. This was a row of spines and all evenly spaced, like a perfect straight line.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but a stonefish can leave some serious damage in those spikes. And
he's got some swelling.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some horror stories about, you know, people's feet swelling up and having to get them, you know, cut open to get all the swelling out of them. And
I told you, the toes, they look like...
He was soaking the sausage there.
3 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Owen Wright using his priority, tucking in, grabbing that rail, an incredible backhand tube rider. And he does well to hang on, punching through the curtain. And getting a couple of hits on the outside as well. Definitely got some great variety on the backhand. We saw that on his first wave. Nice backhand carve into a really good pocket turn. At a 5.17. He needs a 6.83 out of that wave.
I feel like Owen's in a spot of bother at the moment. that wave, the pace wasn't there for me. So he did well to get under the hood, but it wasn't a wide open tube, kind of a smaller wave and a little bit of a pinch on the end there. So the exit was dirty, and then he was a little late to the party, and the pace was a little slow off the end of the wave, meaning he didn't transition with speed, and that is going to hinder the scoring potential. You can see him, he's perfectly positioned, dragging on the wall there, but see how the wave kind of clamped up a bit at the end? Didn't have a nice big open exit. And I do not think, well, that this score will go even really to where he needs. I think it's going to be even under his first scoring wave. So with only 2:30 on the clock, this is going to be a point where there have to be a good set come through, and there's going to have to be 2 waves in order for him to get another wave and another shot at it. And with that, Willian could do a really, you know, number on him and better his 5 that he's got on the board and really make it hard for him.
I think you're spot on. There's been glimpses of form from these competitors, but tripping a little bit at different stages as well. Even Willian, you know, the 6.4, surfed that wave with a lot of speed, a lot of aggression, but had some recovery moments in that ride. So it just feels like if someone puts it all together from start to finish, we're going to see a bigger number drop. The 6.4, I think, is a pretty healthy score for Willian's best ride. But you were right. Owen Wright didn't get close to the required number. He got a 5.2, chipped away at the requirement just a little bit. It was his best wave, but he's still after a 6.8, and there's not a lot of time on the clock, and he's in that horrible position where you're under priority. Willian's going to have control here in the final stages.
Again, here's the opponent paddling past the guy with priority. This confuses me.
Well, maybe in that situation,
the best surfers in the world doing it, though.
Maybe in that situation, he was thinking, if I get the lead, I want to drag Willian a little deeper.
He would have known in his mind that he didn't get the score there, don't you think? You never know.
Well, some movement here at the moment. 1 minute remaining. Owen Wright charging to the inside. Willian Cardoso, though, he's got priority. And he's going to go. Trying to get rid of a 5.6 to increase his lead over the higher seed. Swings that tail, gets caught up on the lip, though. And we'll see if Owen Wright gets an opportunity here. So that one won't go into the top 2, obviously. Competitors for the next heat already in the lineup.
He's going to have time, huh? There's enough time on the clock. If a wave arrives, he's going to have time to smash it, but he needs a really healthy score, huh? 6.8. That's a big score on a little wave like this.
Well, he's opting for the insider. He needs to take to the air here, you'd think. Nice little whip off the top. That's still not going to be enough. He needs something ultra dynamic. He comes up under that lip and doesn't set the fins free. You need something innovative, progressive on those smaller rides to turn in a big number, and it just isn't going to get there.
Yeah, unfortunate right there for Owen Wright. It was, when I saw him paddling for this wave, it made me feel uncomfortable because I knew that it wasn't going to be the score. You need a bit of substance. I mean, the 6.8 is a big score, you know what I mean?
We're seeing some really formed surfers fall out of the mix here in the 3rd round. That's just the way it is on the Championship Tour. Anyone can come from the back end of the ratings and steal a victory. That's been the case for Willian Cardoso. Another big heat just around the corner. Adrian Buchan taking on Michael Rodriguez.